Welcome back to my channel. Today's we explore the value of specifically coins, the top 5 most valuable wheat penny coin value in today's market in dollar. So let's get started. First up, the 1953 wheat penny is one of those coins that often sparks curiosity among collectors and non-collectors alike. At first glance, it might look like just another old penny, but there's more to this coin than meets the eye. In this video, we'll be exploring the history of the 1953 wheat penny without a mint mark, its design, mintage, and, most importantly, its value in today's market when found in normal black or brown circulated condition. The wheat penny, also known as the Lincoln cent, was minted from 1909 to 1958. It's named for the 2 stalks of wheat on the reverse side of the coin, which frame the words 1 cent and United States of America. This reverse design was created by Victor David Brenner, who also designed the portrait of Abraham Lincoln on the obverse. The Lincoln cent was the first U.S. coin to feature a real person, and it was released to mark Lincoln's 100th birthday in 1909. The 1953 wheat penny, specifically the one without a mint mark, was produced at the Philadelphia Mint. That year, the Philadelphia Mint struck over 256 million Lincoln cents. Because of this relatively high mintage, the 1953 no-mint mark penny is not considered rare. However, like many coins, its value can vary significantly depending on its condition. In average circulated condition, which includes pennies that have been in regular use and show signs of wear, the 1953 wheat penny is typically brown or dark in color. These are known in the coin collecting world as brown coins, and they are quite common. In this state, the coin has lost its original red or red-brown luster due to oxidation over the years. While this doesn't make it worthless, it does reduce its collectible value compared to uncirculated or high-grade examples. So, how much is a 1953 wheat penny without a mint mark worth today if it's in normal circulated condition and appears black or brown? As of the current market, which reflects pricing based on recent auction results and dealer listings, a 1953 no mint mark wheat penny in average circulated condition generally sells for between 5 and 15 cents. Yes, that's slightly more than face value, but not by much. However, it's important to understand why these coins still have value above face, even if it's only a few cents. One reason is their age. Many people collect wheat pennies simply because they're no longer in production and represent a different era of U.S. history. Also, the copper content of these older pennies is greater than that of modern cents. The 1953 penny is composed of 95% copper and 5% tin and zinc, giving it a melt value that's often higher than a penny produced today, which is mostly zinc with a thin copper coating. That said, it's illegal to melt U.S. pennies for their metal content, so the melt value doesn't really influence what you can get for the coin on the open market. Instead, collector demand is the primary factor. If your 1953 penny is just your standard black or brown coin with visible wear, but all the design elements still legible, then it falls into the low-end collector value range. Coin dealers might offer you less than 10 cents for it simply because they have so many in stock, and the demand for common, circulated wheat pennies is not very high. But what if your coin is in slightly better shape? Coins that show only light wear and retain some of their original detail might be graded as fine or very fine. In these grades, the value can rise slightly, maybe up to 25 or 30 cents. Still, it's not a life-changing amount. Uncirculated or mint state examples of the 1953 no mint mark penny, especially those with original red coloration, can be worth significantly more. These coins can sell for several dollars, and in high-end mint state grades like MS-65 or MS-66, they might fetch $10 to $30 or more, depending on the eye appeal and the coin's certification by a professional grading service. But again, those are not the average brown or black coins most people find in pocket change or inherited collections. It's also worth mentioning that there are no widely recognized major errors or varieties for the 1953 no mint mark penny that significantly impact its value in circulated condition. Some collectors claim to find doubled dies or off-center strikes, but these are rare and must be authenticated to be considered valuable. So, to sum it up, if you have a 1953 wheat penny without a mint mark in black or brown circulated condition, its value in today's market is usually around 5 to 15 cents. While it's not rare, it's still an interesting piece of U.S. coinage. History and many collectors enjoy adding these older pennies to their collections simply for the historical connection and the nostalgic feel. If you're holding on to a handful of these coins, they might not make you rich, but they're still fun to collect, trade, or even pass down to future generations. Just remember, condition is everything in the coin world. If you come across a shiny, uncirculated example of a 1953 penny, it might be worth taking a closer look, or even getting it graded. Next up, the 1947 S wheat penny is one of many Lincoln cents produced in the mid-20th century, but it holds a special place among collectors due to its historical context and the significance of the wheat cent series. While not extremely rare, this coin can still carry value depending on its condition. In this video, we'll explore the history, design, mintage, and current market value of the 1947 wheat penny with the S mint mark, especially when found in good circulated condition. The wheat penny, officially known as the Lincoln cent, was introduced in 1909 to honor the 100th anniversary of Abraham Lincoln's birth. It was the first regular-issue U.S. coin to feature a real person, with Lincoln's portrait on the obverse. The design was created by Victor David Brenner. The reverse of the coin features two stalks of wheat, symbolizing prosperity and unity. This design remained in place until 1958, when it was replaced by the Lincoln Memorial reverse. The 1947 S wheat penny was minted at the San Francisco Mint, as indicated by the small S mint mark below the date on the obverse. In 1947, the San Francisco Mint produced over 99 million Lincoln cents, making this coin relatively common in terms of mintage numbers. However, the value of any coin is not determined solely by how many were made. It also depends on how many survive today in collectible condition and the demand from collectors. When it comes to condition, coin collectors use a standardized grading scale to determine a coin's value. A coin in good condition means it has been well circulated and shows significant wear. For wheat pennies, this typically means that Lincoln's details are worn down. The lines in the wheat stalks on the reverse are faint or partially gone, and the coin may have discoloration or darkening from circulation. While this is on the lower end of the grading scale, many collectors still seek out coins in this condition for completing year and mint mark sets. So, what is the value of a 1947 S wheat penny in good condition in today's market? Based on current pricing trends, most 1947 S wheat pennies in good, circulated condition are worth around 5 to 10 cents. While this is not a large sum, it is still more than the coin's face value. And for collectors working on building a full Lincoln wheat cent set, these coins hold value as part of a historical collection. If you have a 1947 S penny that's seen better days but is still readable, it likely falls into this 5 to 10 cent range. Dealers who sell wheat pennies in bulk often include 1947 S examples among the more common dates. These coins are usually sold by the roll or bag for collectors who are just starting out or for hobbyists looking to fill a spot in a coin folder. It's also important to mention that while the average circulated 1947 S penny isn't especially valuable, coins in higher grades can command more significant prices. If you come across one in very fine or extremely fine condition, where the details are sharper and the wear is minimal, it could be worth 25 to 50 cents. In uncirculated or mint state condition, especially if it retains its original red color from the copper, the value increases even more. An MS-63 red 1947 S penny, for example, might be worth between $3 and $5, while coins graded MS-65 or higher by a reputable grading service can fetch $10 or more depending on the eye appeal. That said, most people who find a 1947 S penny today come across it in change, in old jars, or in inherited collections, and these are usually circulated coins in good to very good condition, unless it is in a high mint state grade, or unless it has an unusual error. The coin's value stays relatively modest. Speaking of errors, there are no widely recognized major error varieties for the 1947 S wheat penny that significantly increase its value. Minor striking issues like die cracks or off-center strikes may occur, but unless these are dramatic or well-documented errors, they generally add little to the base value. If you suspect you have a 1947 S penny with an error, it's always a good idea to consult a reputable coin dealer or get a professional opinion from a grading service. Collectors value wheat pennies like the 1947 S not just for their monetary worth, but for their historical importance. Minted shortly after World War II, these coins are part of America's post-war history. The fact that they are made primarily of copper also gives them a more appealing look and feel compared to today's zinc-based pennies. In conclusion, a 1947 S wheat penny in good condition typically holds a value of about 5 to 10 cents in today's market. While it's not a rare or high-value coin in circulated condition, it remains a popular and nostalgic piece for collectors of all levels. If you're building a Lincoln cent collection or simply enjoy the history behind U.S. coins, the 1947 S is a solid and affordable addition. Next up, the 1949 wheat penny with the S mint mark. But what makes this coin interesting, and how much is it really worth today if you have one in good condition? Let's take a closer look at the 1949 S wheat penny, examine its history, and break down what it could be worth in today's collector market. First, some background. The wheat penny, also known as the Lincoln wheat cent, was first minted in 1909 to commemorate the 100th birthday of Abraham Lincoln. Designed by Victor David Brenner, the coin features Lincoln on the obverse and 2 wheat stalks on the reverse. The wheat penny remained in production until 1958, when it was replaced by the Lincoln Memorial reverse design. The 1949 wheat penny was minted during a post-World War II period when the U.S. economy was transitioning from wartime production back to peacetime activity. 3 mints produced the penny that year: Philadelphia, Denver, and San Francisco. The version struck in San Francisco carries the S mint mark just below the date on the obverse, and this is the coin we'll be focusing on. In total, the year San Francisco Mint struck just over 64 million 1949 S wheat pennies. Compared to other years and mint locations, this is a moderately high mintage. It's not the rarest wheat penny by any means, but it's still sought after by collectors, especially in higher grades. Now let's talk about value. If you come across a 1949 S wheat penny in good condition, meaning it shows significant wear, but all major details are visible, the coin's value is modest. In today's market, as of 2025, a 1949 S penny in good condition typically sells for around 10 to 20 cents. That might not sound like much, but it's still more than face value and a small return on a coin that may have been sitting in a drawer for decades. So, why is it worth more than just 1 cent? Even in circulated condition, older wheat pennies like this one are no longer being made, and collectors value them for completing date and mint mark sets. The coin's copper content also adds a small, intrinsic value, as it was made from 95% copper and 5% tin and zinc. However, the metal value doesn't usually exceed a few cents, and it's the collector demand that primarily drives the price. As the condition improves, so does the value. A 1949 S penny in fine condition, meaning the coin still shows light, to moderate wear but with more visible details, can fetch around 30 to 50 cents. If you have one in very fine or extremely fine condition, you might be looking at a value closer to $1 or $2, but the real jump in value happens with coins in uncirculated or mint state condition. These coins show no wear from circulation and often retain their original luster. In mint state grades, especially MS-60 and above, the value of a 1949 S penny can range from $5 to $25, depending on the specific grade and the overall eye appeal of the coin. For example, an MS-63 red example, where the coin retains its bright copper red color, might sell for $15 to $20. Higher grades, such as MS-65 red, can command prices upwards of $30 to $40, especially if certified by reputable grading services like PCGS or NGC. One interesting note about the 1949 S wheat penny is that, while it's not a key date, it is known for having relatively strong strikes compared to some other San Francisco minted coins from the era. This means that well-struck examples with clean surfaces can stand out to collectors who are assembling high-quality Lincoln cent sets. It's also worth noting that coins with unique characteristics, such as die cracks, doubling, or off-center strikes, can sometimes bring higher premiums if they fall into the category of error coins. While no major or well-known varieties of the 1949 S penny are currently recognized, it's always a good idea to examine any older coin closely for anomalies. If you think you might have a valuable 1949 S wheat penny, it's best to handle the coin carefully, avoid cleaning it, and consider having it evaluated by a professional. Coins that are cleaned or damaged can lose a significant portion of their collector value. In conclusion, the 1949 S wheat penny in good condition holds modest but real value in the numismatic market. While a heavily circulated coin might only bring you 10 to 20 cents, higher-grade examples can be worth several dollars or more. Whether you're a seasoned collector or someone who just found an old coin in a jar, the 1949 S penny is a great example of how everyday change can carry both historical and monetary value. If you're building a wheat penny collection or just curious about coin values, keep an eye out for mint marks and condition. Even common-date coins like the 1949 S can become valuable additions to a collection, especially when preserved well. Next up, the 1945 wheat penny without a mint mark, and examine its history, how to identify it, and what it's worth today, particularly if it's in a typical circulated condition with normal wear or damage. First, let's look at the background of this coin. The 1945 wheat penny was minted during a pivotal time in American history, at the end of World War II. It was struck at 3 U.S. mint locations: Philadelphia, Denver, and San Francisco. If a 1945 penny doesn't have a mint mark beneath the date, that means it was struck at the Philadelphia Mint. This version is by far the most common of the 3 for that year. In total, the Philadelphia Mint produced over 1 billion 1945 wheat pennies, approximately 140,515,000 coins. With such a high mintage, the 1945 no-mint mark penny is not rare in terms of how many were produced. Because of this, the coin's base value is generally low, especially in circulated condition. But as with all coins, collector interest, metal content, and condition all play a role in determining value. Let's now focus on the typical circulated condition. This means the coin has been in everyday use and shows clear signs of wear. The details on Lincoln's hair and coat may be flattened. The wheat stalks on the reverse may be faint or partially worn down, and there may be small nicks, discoloration, or other minor damage from handling. This is the most common state in which the 1945 wheat penny is found today. In today's coin market, a 1945 wheat penny from Philadelphia in average circulated condition, what collectors would call good to very good, is typically worth about 2 to 5 cents. That's just slightly above its face value, and that's largely because of its historical significance and copper content. Speaking of composition, the 1945 penny was made from 95% copper and 5% tin and zinc. This was a return to the traditional composition after the one-year experiment in 1943, when the U.S. Mint produced pennies made of steel coated with zinc to conserve copper for the war effort. Because of its copper makeup, the intrinsic metal value of the coin fluctuates with copper prices. However, even with copper at elevated prices, the melt value of a single penny is still under 3 cents. And it's important to note that melting U.S. pennies for their metal value is illegal under current U.S. law. So, what factors could increase the value of a 1945 no mint mark penny? The main factor is condition. Coins that are in much better shape, showing little to no wear and maintaining original mint luster, can command higher prices. These are known as uncirculated or mint state coins. But since we are focusing on circulated, worn, or even slightly damaged coins in this video, the value stays relatively low. That said, if the coin has an unusual error, such as a double die, off-center strike, or lamination error, that could make it much more valuable, even in worn condition. Error coins are highly collectible and can sometimes fetch several dollars or even more, depending on rarity and demand. However, no major or widely recognized errors are commonly associated with the 1945 Philadelphia wheat penny, so most circulated examples do not fall into this category. Collectors often seek out coins like the 1945 wheat penny as part of a complete date and mint mark set of Lincoln wheat cents. While the individual value of a circulated 1945 penny is small, it still plays an important role in completing that collection, which keeps demand steady. If you're holding on to a handful of wheat pennies, including some from 1945, it's a good idea to sort them by date and mint mark and then evaluate their condition. Even if you don't have a rare or high-grade piece, a group of wheat pennies can still be worth more when sold together as a bulk lot to a collector or dealer. For example, a roll of 50 circulated wheat pennies that includes common dates like 1945 might sell for anywhere between $2 to $5, depending on overall condition and buyer interest. So, to summarize, the 1945 wheat penny without a mint mark is a common coin in the world of U.S. numismatics. If you have one in normal, circulated condition with visible wear and no notable errors, you can expect it to be worth 2 to 5 cents in today's market. While that may not seem like much, the coin still has value, both as a collectible and as a piece of American history. It reminds us of the wartime era when every cent counted, and production continued through global conflict and recovery. If you're interested in collecting or selling wheat pennies, the key is to learn how to grade coins accurately. Recognize mint marks and look for special varieties or errors. Even common coins can hold surprises, and a closer inspection might reveal more than you expect. Next up, the 1952 wheat penny minted in Denver, identified by the small D mint mark below the date on the obverse, and more specifically, its value in today's market when found in extra fine condition. Let's begin with some historical background. The 1952 D wheat penny was struck during the post-World War II period, a time of strong economic growth and rapid change in the United States. Coin production was high, and the Denver Mint played a significant role in meeting the nation's demand for small denomination coins. In that year, the Denver Mint produced over 746 million Lincoln cents. This high mintage makes the 1952 D penny a relatively common coin by volume, especially when compared to earlier dates or lower mintage issues in the series. Despite being common in terms of mintage, the 1952 D wheat penny remains popular among collectors, especially those working to complete a full set of Lincoln cents by date and mint mark. But value in the numismatic world isn't based on mintage alone. Condition, demand, and collector interest play a big part in how much a coin is worth today. So, what does extra fine mean when it comes to coin grading? Extra fine, or XF, is a condition that represents a coin that saw only light circulation. It will show minor wear on the highest points of the design, but retain strong detail and clear features. On an extra fine 1952D wheat penny, you can expect to see most of the fine lines in Lincoln's hair and beard still visible, while the wheat stalks on the reverse remain mostly sharp. Luster may be diminished or partially present, and the fields might show small contact marks, but overall, the coin appears well preserved and attractive. Now, let's talk about value. As of 2025, the typical market value of a 1952D wheat penny in extra fine condition is around $0.30 to $0.50. That means if you have this coin in your collection or happen to come across it in a box of old change, it's worth significantly more than face value, but not enough to be considered rare or high dollar. So why does a coin that's over 70 years old and in relatively good condition have such a modest value? It comes down to supply and demand. Because so many were produced, and because wheat pennies were saved in large quantities by collectors and the general public, examples in extra fine condition are not particularly scarce. Still, their value holds up due to the coin's age, copper content, and ongoing interest from collectors. It's important to note that while extra fine condition is a nice grade for a circulated coin, the real jump in value happens at higher uncirculated grades. A 1952D wheat penny in mint state 63, which would be considered a lower-end uncirculated coin, might sell for around $2 to $5, depending on the color and strike. In mint state 65, red, the price could climb to $15 or more, especially if the coin is certified by a major grading service like PCGS or NGC. When collecting wheat pennies like the 1952D, color is also a factor in value. Copper coins naturally tone over time, and their color is graded as red, red-brown, or brown. A coin with a bright red original color is more desirable than a dull brown one, all other things being equal. Extra fine coins typically fall into the red-brown or brown category, as the original mint luster has usually faded due to circulation. As for errors or varieties, the 1952D wheat penny doesn't have any widely recognized major errors that significantly affect value. However, as with any coin, there are occasional examples with small minting mistakes like die cracks, repunched mint marks, or off-center strikes. While these are less common, minor errors can sometimes bring small premiums if they are dramatic enough or attract the attention of collectors who specialize in error coins. Another thing to keep in mind is the metal composition. Like other pre-1982 pennies, the 1952D is made of 95% copper and 5% tin and zinc. With copper prices having risen in recent years, the intrinsic metal value of each coin is around 2 to 3 cents. While this is still below most collectible values, it adds a small base-level worth that modern zinc pennies don't carry. If you're looking to sell or buy a 1952D wheat penny in extra fine condition, your best options are coin dealers, online marketplaces, or coin shows. Keep in mind that individual buyers and dealers often pay less than retail value, especially when buying single coins. Selling in bulk, such as in small groups or full sets, can sometimes bring better overall prices. To summarize, the 1952D wheat penny is a common but collectible coin from the mid-20th century. In extra fine condition, it carries a modest value of around 30 to 50 cents in today's market. While not rare or highly valuable, it remains a solid piece for those completing a Lincoln cent collection or simply preserving a piece of American history. Thanks for watching. If you enjoy this video, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more coin collecting content. See you, and next time, happy collecting.